Hello everyone, this historical 18-move game holds my absolute favourite move of all time. With the white pieces is Edward Lasker, not the second world champion Emmanuel Lasker, but still a very strong player. And with the black pieces is George Allen Thomas, who is a prominent player of the time. This game was played in London 1912, and it began with d4. Black played e6. Thomas was very likely a French player and was ready for e4, where he would have played d5, transposing into a French. But instead, white played knight to f3. Black plays f5, attempting to transpose into some sort of Dutch, which was a lot more popular back in those days. And now knight c3 prepares to take control of the center with e4. So knight f6 keeps an eye on that central e4 square, and now bishop g5, it pins the knight and once again renews that threat of e4. Bishop e7 may break the pin, but white simply exchanges with bishop takes knight, and after bishop takes bishop, e4 gains central control. Black obviously didn't allow white to have both pawns in the center, so they took, and white is left with good central control. So black begins to fight for the center from the queen side, with b6 preparing to fianchetto with bishop b7. And here the most obvious move is to back up the center with bishop to d3, and after bishop b7 something like queen e2. White's a little better, around plus 1.5, but instead white played knight e5, moving the same piece twice, which is what we are told usually not to do in the opening. But this gains control over the weak f7 square, which actually ends up being quite a useful move. Black castles, white plays bishop d3, and after black plays bishop b7, queen h5 comes. And this sets up the threat of knight takes f6 check, followed by queen takes h7 mate. For example, if black plays some random move like d6, then after knight takes f6 check, we see this incoming threat. This would be checkmate. However, black played queen e7. This makes all the sense in the world, because now, if you try and go for the same idea, this will actually be a blunder, because h7 is completely defended, and now white's knight is under attack. Heading back to queen e7 though, this defensive move actually turns out to be a game-losing blunder. All because of queen takes h7. If I could give this move more exclamation marks, I would. This amazing queen sacrifice is actually a forced checkmate in 6, and I bet you wouldn't believe me if I said that this king ends up walking all the way down the board and gets checkmated on g1. It's forced there. Well, let's take a look. King takes h7 is the only move, because that knight covers f7. And now knight takes f6 is a double check. And in the face of a double check, the king must flee. It cannot go back to h8 because of knight g6 with the family fork, but more importantly, it is mate. So it goes to h6. And after knight eg4, we see a string of forced moves. The only square the king can go to is g5. After h4 check, the only square the king can go to is f4. g3 check, only square is f3. Bishop e2 check, the only square is g2. And after rook h2 check, the only square is g1. And king d2 is checkmate. I'm slightly disappointed that they didn't castle queenside with mate. However, this game is still one of the most beautiful I have ever seen, and it's a great example of how calculating forcing moves, however ridiculous they may seem, can win you spectacular games. So thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. It would help a lot. Thank you.